As Mark Roberts would say, and as we know, we are this close to eradicating polio. But one thing that Rotary does is makes the world this small. Dawn is participating in the Pekin Club. I've been participating in the Fairbury Club. And a couple of months ago, I heard this speaker and thought he'd be darn good for us to hear too. Bruce Huber is a native of Fairbury, but now lives in Morton and has for about 30 years with his wife, Joyce. He's a graduate of the University of Illinois in engineering and has worked for Procter & Gamble, Zenith, Clark Engineers, and I most recently encountered him as an executive VP at Morton Community Bank, where he was in charge of business development and IT and construction, clock tower building down in the Levy District. Bruce Huber is passionate about safe driving, is head of the local BMW club, and is here to talk to us about a driving school that he's involved with. Bruce?
Well, thank you, Alan. I told him earlier, since he's heard this talk, that I don't have a script. And so I'm going to do the play-by-play, and I'm going to lean on him for the color commentary. He can fill in what I forget, all right? Okay?
It's going to be a crash and burn.
There you go. But, you know, I looked around, and I don't see a necktie in here. And things changed too late for me. Because I had 4.5 decades of getting up in the morning and putting on, you know, coat and tie and going off to work. And it was only in retirement that I did the math to figure out that I knotted a necktie about 11,000 times. And you, if you ever, like me, did that, you just figure it out. But in all those years, it would never occur to me to step up in front of a dignified group like the Rotary in blue jeans. But this is the uniform of the program that I want to tell you about today. It's called Street Survival. So car wrecks remain one of the biggest killers of teens. And the statistics say that over 70% of the time, the cause is driver error due to inexperience. They simply got in a situation they didn't know how to deal with. And so back in 2002, some of the fellows in the BMW club put their heads together and said, you know, we could do something about this. And they started Street Survival. It is a one-day course on a closed private course, typically a big parking lot. And we pick up where driver's ed leaves off. Because in driver's ed, they learn the rules of the road, and they maybe have a few hours behind the wheel in addition to whatever mom and dad help them out with. And essentially, they've learned the minimal basics of how do you control that car in normal circumstances. They aren't prepared for the abnormal circumstances. In one day, we do that. And it started small on the East Coast with the BMW club. And a few years later, as it gained some momentum, Tire Rack came on board. You may know them if you're in cars, because they're the online nationwide retailer for tires. They put enough resources behind this to become the nationwide naming sponsor. So it's been called Tire Rack Street Survival since. In about 2005, the BMW Club was joined by the Porsche Club of America, and a few years later, the Sports Car Club of America. And today, this course is being offered all over North America, including Canada, by, on a local basis, one of those car enthusiast clubs that gets behind it and puts this program on. We start with a bare parking lot. We set up about 300 orange cones, and we have the students learning that their vehicle can do much more than they ever thought it could in terms of braking and turning, not accelerating. I don't think they will go over 30 at any point during the course of our course. They gain the skills, muscle memory. We have them do these exercises repeatedly. And it's all about vehicle control, how to avoid or minimize a difficult situation if you get into it. Here locally, our BMW club has been doing this now for 14 years. We regrettably, because we're not-for-profit, we don't have the money to advertise, so we're sort of a well-kept secret. We fill the class halfway by word of mouth. A sibling, a neighbor, a friend heard about this, and the president of Caterpillar sent both of his daughters through. That's kind of how it goes. But then to get the rest of the students to know about this, we count on organizations like yours. And that's why I really so much appreciate the opportunity to talk to you today. To give you, before I go further, I want to give you just a taste of it, because if a picture is worth 1,000 words, video is worth even more. So can we roll that one now that you started earlier?
Program is basically designed to try and simulate real-life emergencies that might happen out on the highway, out on the roads. The students who show up here the first time never signed themselves up. Mom or dad did it for them. Mom, I already have my license. I don't need another driver's ed class, especially when I have to get up at 6:30 on a Sunday morning to get there.
Like going in, I was very hesitant. I thought we were just come out here and speed up and slow down, but having to speed donuts and stuff, it's fun. It's just crazy. This is not what I thought I was gonna be doing at all.
Driver education that the kids get in high school classes is rules of the road. What do different shaped signs mean? Who gets the right of way coming up to a four-way stop? We don't teach basic driving skills. We teach emergency maneuvers.
This is actually my 26th class. What brings me back? The kids. I mean, just today, a girl named Hannah. She started this morning kind of timid. Here we are at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. She's a whole different driver.
Let's do one more lap.
Oh God.
Oh, you're doing great.
Oh my gosh, Hannah, you did so well, but oh my God, I'm so nervous.
I guarantee she's a safer driver right now than she was at 8 o'clock this morning. Absolutely.
It seems like every year I host one of these, within the first month after we've packed up and gone home, I get the email, thank you so much for hosting that class. If they hadn't taken that, if they hadn't repeated those drills over and over again, we know the car would probably be in the junkyard and they'd still be in the hospital.
I was coming home, it was a bit of a rainy night. Someone slammed their brakes in front of me. And had I not gone through that course, it might not have given me the reaction time to be able to switch lanes quickly enough that I could avoid an accident.
Being in my first year, I learned it's okay to relax a bit. It's easy to get out of a situation. It's just panic that makes you think that you're stuck, but you're really not.
Kids that do this school are 3 times less likely to be involved in an accident over the next 24, 36 months. That's why I do this class. That's why I spend so many hours getting all this organized. They're just safer drivers.
As you can see, that little bit of video was made by an insurance company in Indiana. The school, as I said, is offered nationwide and in many cases has a variety of local sponsors that may also get behind it. Here locally, our major benefactor is Caterpillar. Not with money, but with resources. You saw a lot of water. Well, Caterpillar very generously gives us at no cost the use of building AC up in Mossville. Those of you acquainted with it or having driven by up on Route 29, there are acres and acres of asphalt, parking. That's where we set up the course. The building has a beautiful auditorium and cafeteria because we feed them breakfast and lunch, not only the students, but their parents and the volunteers. So it's a wonderful facility. In addition, they help us out because that, I'm told, is now mostly office space, but once built engines. and Jeffrey's nodding, yeah. There's still a fire department there, Cat Fire Department, and they're a little bored. So we have them come on out, and they water down a chunk of it, like you saw there. Now we've got a skid pad. So while people like me, Dad took me out to a snowy parking lot, and we learned how to control a skid. You maybe had some experience like that too. So we're teaching them how to control oversteer and understeer and that kind of thing. Another way that CAT benefits is they roll out an 18-wheeler and park it there, semi-truck. And we stage cars all around it. And then one by one, we have the student climb up there, sit in the driver's seat, and we have a professional driver from our club who's got 3 million miles on the road in the passenger seat to talk to them. Give them an appreciation for what a truck driver cannot see. It's kind of a sobering wake up to where are those blind spots, and for heaven's sake, stay out of them. The parents often want to clamber up there too, if time permits. So Caterpillar is a big help to us. You also saw one of the volunteers. It takes about 40, we had 43 this past summer to put on the school. And the coaches, especially those we, first of all, there's a flyer in front of you. I put a bunch of them on each table that you can take home. But we teach the student in the car they drive. So we don't care if it's some compact sedan they're taking to junior college, or it's mom's minivan, or it's dad's pickup truck. If that's what they drive, we're going to teach them to drive it safer. Because they're learning the vehicle dynamics of that particular car and how best to handle it. The coach riding alongside in the passenger seat, very special people. They're all volunteers. The pay they get is the shirt. And the rewards of seeing the students develop in just 8 hours, like that fellow said on the video. There's all these people have some form of high performance driving experience. Could be racing, could be autocross, if you've heard of that kind of thing. But they're accustomed to dealing with highly physical activity behind the wheel than you're ordinarily going to encounter in everyday driving. You see, racing and cars are their sport. This is what they enjoy doing. They may have a set of golf clubs, but they're collecting dust in the garage. On the weekends, their cars out somewhere. So those are our coaches. The class is open for drivers. We'll take them at 15 with their permit if they have maybe 25 hours behind the wheel, so they aren't totally green. And while the brochure says up to 21, that's really the target audience, if I can marketing speak for just a minute. There's really no age limit. We've had adults come. This year we had a mother and daughter go through it together, which is really kind of neat. You're never too old to learn a little bit more. And but we have a hard time promoting this through the students. It's the parents we have to reach. And so I've got another little clip here I want to have Jeff run for us. This gives you the parents' point of view.
I came across the street survival circuit because I was looking for something for our oldest son, who is now 21. And I was going to send him to another school out of state, and then I actually heard about the Tire Rack Street Survival Program through our local BMW dealer.
As my husband and I looked at it, we thought this is a great program for them to be better drivers. You know, every time you put them out on the road by themselves, you're always concerned for their safety.
With the Tire Rack program, my son was given the opportunity to really learn what it was like to be in what we'd call an uncontrollable situation, for example, a skid, which typically would lead to an accident.
I think they learned more about anticipating what other drivers are going to do. They learned a lot about not texting and driving and being on their cell phone and driving, which I really felt was very important.
And I get a lot of satisfaction coming out here and watching not only my kids, but also the other kids that are here leave the premises as a more confident driver, because they've been able to do something in the car in a controlled environment that they would have never been able to do before.
Why should a parent enroll their teenager in the street survival program? And I, as a parent myself who had a child that went through it, the simple answer is you do not get enough hands-on experience in the traditional driver's ed program. I think the street survival program is the perfect complement to all that they'll learn in driver's ed.
This program just prepares them much better for what they're going to experience on the road and how they should drive, and keeping themselves safe as well as realizing that there are other drivers out there that could affect what happens to them when they're on the road.
For a father, it was about getting the children comfortable driving the cars in a controlled environment, and the Tire Rack Street Survival Program did all that.
As you can see, it's a pretty neat program. We here in Peoria, our program we run up in Mossville, we found through experience now of doing this for so many years, we can have 18 to 20 cars out on that course at one time without them having wait time. We don't want them, we want them driving when they're out there and not sitting and waiting for somebody else to get through the exercise. So we enroll 36 per day, and we have a Saturday class and then a Sunday class. So this past summer, for example, we graduated nearly 72 kids. But while 18 of them are out there on the course, the other 18 are in the classroom, and we talk about what the physics are of the appropriate tire pressure, so your tires have the right grip. We talk about situational awareness, that you don't want to be staring down your nose, you want to be looking around so you're aware of everything that's going on around you. But the kids, when they show up, and you got a hint of this earlier, 7:30 in the morning, I guess I would describe the prevailing attitude as sullenness. It's 7:30 on a Saturday. I had to get up, and I don't know any of these other kids, and this was Mom's idea. And they really don't, a little apprehensive, they don't know what they're going to get into. But by lunchtime, they're chipper, they're comparing notes with each other, and by the end of the day, we have some who don't want to go home. They're having a good time. So the kids really do have fun. So I got one last video here, which is, this is the student's point of view.
Before today, I believe I was a painfully average driver.
I'd say I'm a confident driver.
I would say I was a pretty competent driver, but in terms of emergency situations, I had no experience.
You know, being a confident driver doesn't mean you're always safe.
I don't think I had as much control over my car.
I'm not the best at focusing.
Like, I've been playing with the radio instead of like focusing on the road like I should.
Of the program, I think it's absolutely wonderful.
I didn't really want to come because it's a Sunday morning, it was early. Homecoming was last night, we were out pretty late, but I'm pretty glad I did.
I had no idea what my car could do, and I had no idea how much better I could be underneath any kind of pressure.
I'm actually feeling like a lot more confident because over there on the skid pad, my instructor, Mike, he actually used my emergency brake to make me spin completely out of control, so I got to feel what that felt like.
For example, slaloming through some of the cones, I didn't think that my car was short enough to actually be able to make it through. But in driving through them, and I was like zipping through them, and everything was fine, and I actually didn't hit any.
I think I'm going to be a better driver now because I'm looking farther ahead instead of what's directly in front of me. I think I have more control over my car, so like if anything were to happen, I would know what to do and be able to react to it.
It's important that I'm here and learning these things because otherwise I could end up doing something pretty bad.
I would say to my friends that they absolutely have to take a class like this.
It may seem really, really weird. It may seem like going into it like, I already got my license, what more do I need to know? You're not the best that you can be, and there's always more that you can learn.
It's definitely helped me learn a lot more about my car and a lot more about driving in general.
You weren't sitting in a class the entire time. It was actually where you got to go and get hands-on and feel your car spin out and do everything that you actually need in life. It wasn't boring at all.
It's important to know what your car is capable of and what you are capable of.
You actually are going to learn so much from it, and when you are in a situation of panic, then you're going to know what to do rather than just kind of like being there and being just another number.
So there is a cost. On that sheet, you'll see it's $125. Put that in perspective, there are for-profit organizations that offer courses like this around the country. I think up in Joliet is maybe the nearest one. But they'll want $500 to $1,000 for one day. We're just trying to cover our costs and feed all those people. And in addition, we do offer some scholarships. And if we learn of a family that's needy, we want to put that student through the course anyway, complimentary. And it's just a matter of contacting one of us club officers to do that. We get results. Regrettably, the statistics say that 89% of teens are going to have a crash before they're 20. 9 out of 10. Now, it may just be a fender bender or something. It may not be something cataclysmic, but 9 out of 10. Well, we've been surveying our graduates for the 20-some years we've been doing this. And of our graduates, only 5% have an at-fault accident before they're 20. We reduce their accident rate for those teens by that dramatic amount. It really, really works. And they have fun doing it. I mentioned that what do we volunteers get out of it? Well, other than a nice shirt. And the satisfaction of seeing those kids grow. But then there are letters we get and the follow-ups we get after. One I'll leave you with, and that is a few summers ago, a young woman went through our course. That fall, we heard back from her mom. Mom wrote that the family had taken off on a driving vacation. Cross country, they're all taking turns, and the young woman has taken her turn at the wheel. When an 18-wheeler stopped abruptly right in front of him in their lane for some reason or another. And the way Mom recounted it, she said, if I'd been driving, I probably would have panicked and popped right into that truck. Well, the young lady just went, phew, phew, and came to a nice gradual stop in the lane next to the truck. Executing the maneuver we taught them, it's a sudden lane change maneuver where you don't brake, you just turn. You find out, oh golly, the car actually will turn that sharp. And she said, well, it was just muscle memory. I didn't even have to think. I'd done that so many times I knew what to do. And so that's why we do it. That's why we do it. Questions? Probably. Yeah.
So $125 is pretty, it's not very expensive when you compare what their insurance rates are going to be for the next 5 years. I was wondering if you talked to insurance companies about actually being able to lower their rate for graduating through the school.
Some will. And as we have a little graduation ceremony to send them off at the end of the day. And we tell them, take that certificate into your insurance agent. You may get a break on the rate. We're also always looking for insurance companies to help underwrite this because there would seem to be some synergy there, We're lowering the number of accidents. Other questions?
Bruce, 40 years ago, I guess it was, I had a daughter in college and a son in high school, and they both at different times totaled a car. And so I paid the money and sent them off to professional driver school for 4 days.
Yeah.
And they've never had an accident since. And I think what you're doing locally is terrific. And I wish it had been available for my kids at that time. Thank you.
Well, that's why we're here. We very much appreciate you folks spreading the word because we don't have the dollars to advertise it. It's all, the class fills up halfway immediately when we open it for registration. And those are the siblings, the friends that heard about it and so forth. Yeah.
I'm so glad you're with us today. My last memory of you is drinking in a bar with Sandy Moldovan downtown.
Yeah.
Years ago.
Yeah.
And we had a great time.
Yeah.
What brought you to this very serious subject? Is there something that we need to know? Thanks.
Well,
what?
Have any of you ever been volunteered for a job where, all of a sudden everybody else stood back and there you were. Well, I've been a part of the BMW club for, I don't know, 25 years. Got involved in helping out with this. And then 4 years ago, I became the classroom instructor. My cardiologist doesn't want me out there in the cars. But while they're out in the cars, I'm doing PowerPoint with them in the classroom. And I don't know, it's just kind of a labor of love. You know, everybody finds some way to give back, and this is ours. But yeah, that was quite a memory, huh? And he was quite the drinking partner.
Thank you for being here today. I'm thrilled to learn about this. I have 2 teenage boys. We've had a few tickets already. So what month does this occur, and when can I sign them up?
Well, on the brochure, on the flyer, you'll find streetsurvival.org. That's the master website, and it will list all the classes that are open around the country right now. For example, within a near drive to us, in September, there's going to be one in South Bend, Indiana, actually at the headquarters of Tire Rack. And in October, there's going to be one in St. Louis, actually St. Charles, the suburb of St. Louis. So if someone was up for just a little weekend, overnighter, that there's going to be more of them offered nearby. And then we'll be back next summer. It's usually midwinter when we set a date. A lot of finagling with Caterpillar and all the other moving parts, but we'll be back again. Just watch streetsurvival.org. And by the way, these are all just YouTube videos. If you're into YouTube, punch in Tire Rack Street Survival. You'll see these and many more like it. I'm supposed to give something away. Oh, there's another question.
One more question. My daughter, Julia, she's a little over 18. Do I have to sign off for her to take the class?
No, the minors under 18, yeah, we got a lot of, it's all lawyered up and insurance company up. And,
we're okay there too.
But in all the years of doing this, we have yet to dent a car, and we're very proud of that.